The world has ended. Our days are dust and sand. Now we must build what we can from the remnants of the old world in Fireside Games. Remnants. You about to get your post-apocalyptic on. Let's go ahead and check this thing out. Alright, what's up guys? How's it going? I'm here with a review of Remnants by Fireside Games. So, this game, it is a little bit heavier than the majority of the games that I've been doing reviews for lately. So, just sit back and enjoy and check it out, alright? See what you guys think. So, this game itself is pretty much a really press your luck, continuous die rolling. You're just going to keep on rolling these 4 dice over and over again until you get 3 like symbols. Wow, I just rolled 3 stars. But anyway, we'll go over what the stars do in just a second. So each die has 6 particular icons. The red is a cloth, then you have wood, metal, plastic, rope, and then lastly you have that star. So what you're doing is you're continuously rolling and rolling and rolling, and once you get 3, unless you have a scavenger, yeah, scavenger, unless you, right, I think it's called a scavenger, oh well, if you have one of them, then you once per turn you can use only 2 dice. But you're going to try to get 3, and then you're going to be able to take one of these tokens that are around the board. I only have these 2 plastic ones set up, but usually there's rope, metal, wood, and cloth, as well as the plastic. And you'll be able to take a token. The tokens are put there depending on how many players there are. So if it's a 2-player game, then obviously you put it up to the 2-player, 3 and 4, so on. Pretty self-explanatory. Then all around the board, kind of can't see it on the camera, but there is the one that says bonus 2, bonus 4, bonus 3. If you end up having that many players, you end up putting bonus tokens on those locations to be able to have an opportunity to win, to take. So the bonus would be over there like that. So what's going to happen is I'm going to designate so many different scavengers, survivors, looters, and I forget what the haulers is, what the other one's called. And I'm going to sit there and I'm going to commit these guys to either going out in the wasteland and trying to find materials or to loot. And they're 2 different things, and we'll get to that. So first off, if say I have 4 or 5 guys and I want to sit there and I want to scavenge, I want to look for different materials, I want to keep on rolling and keep on rolling. Once I hit 3, that was pure luck, I hit 3 plastic, I'll get to take one of the plastic and I put it on top of one of my scavengers or survivors or whoever it may be. I keep doing that until all my guys have 1. They're all only able to carry 1 piece of material unless he's the hauler, which can carry up to 2. After that, the trigger for the whole scavenging section of the game doesn't end until, it doesn't trigger until I roll 3 stars. Once I roll 3 stars, then I'm going to be able to grab the bonus. Once I grab the bonus, the turn is over. Everybody else has to stop scavenging. If they have at least one person left, then they'll be able to take one of those items that might still be on the board. But if they have more than 1, they're out of luck. They only get to take 1. All right. So that's the scavenge part. Then there comes the loot part. There's some people that are specifically looters. What they're going to do is they're going to roll 1 die each, and on the bottom of the icon are little pips. It doesn't want to focus. The little pip is going to tell you how many on your loot tracker on your character card you're going to get to move up. And that's what this is right here, the character card. And this is your loot tracker. So this is health, this is a little screwdriver, and this is materials. So with health, obviously, if one of your survivors get injured, you're going to be able to spend one of these to help heal them. The screwdriver adds pips to anything. It could be attack, it could be scav or loot, anything. And then the materials, you'll be able to cash in 2 sections worth, 2 points worth, to be able to produce any type of material that you want. So, what is all this stuff good for? Well, you're going to be using all of this stuff to do developments. And these are the development cards. I am not going... Oh, it doesn't really matter, I guess, because whoever sees this is going to want to play it. So anyway, so the development cards on the top here tell you exactly what you need to be able to purchase this one specific card. This is the flamethrower. The flamethrower, all the cards are worth a particular amount of VP points at the end of the game. And then down here, it gives you what the benefit is. The fist means that's how many dice you roll when you end up having to fight one of the bad guys. All right. Now, when you go out in the wasteland, bad things do happen. Sometimes good things happen, and you're going to end up having to draw one of these Badland cards. Sometimes good, sometimes bad, but majority of the time, it's not too good for you. But you do end up having to draw these once per turn whenever you go out and scavenge. Then, every other turn, there's a total of 6 rounds in this game. Every other round, you end up having to fight a bad guy. All right? So, you end up fighting, usually the way you set it up, especially for the first game, you do a level 1, a level 2, and then you get the boss. All right? So, you randomly pick what they are. They get flipped over, and it tells you exactly what you're fighting. It tells you the health. It tells you anything that they might end up doing negative towards you. So this guy, for example, if I rolled a die that had 3 pips on it, the first one, I would have to re-roll it. And then it tells me if I beat him, what I get, and if I lose, what happens to me. I'm not going to show you guys the boss card. I don't really want to ruin any of that. You guys can check that out yourselves and see exactly, I'm sure you can check online, see different things about exactly all this game, and they see the exact card itself. But I'm not going to ruin it for you if you don't, I just don't want to do that. But this, there's 3 different bosses, and they all have boss bonuses, and they're pretty nasty. So that's pretty much all that for the cards. So like I said, you'll be able to use your developments to purchase things to be able to fight those guys. You're also going to end up getting developments that are protection. So for example, the wood fence, it has shields down here. So whenever you end up using your shields, whenever you end up fighting somebody, so for example, the bike raider guys were a 4, the shields reduce it by that many. So this means they would reduce them down to a 2. And then you would get to roll however many fists you have for fighting. So if I had 2 fists, I get to roll 2 dice. I roll them, add up the pips. That's 3. They were already down to 2, so I beat them. Pretty simple. If you end up having survivors, which you will have survivors because you all start off with some, and then they get injured, they get flipped over to the little hand here. And if they get hit, if they have to get injured again, then they're dead. Other than that, you can also recruit more survivors. Your most basic survivors are just a rope and a cloth. But then your trained survivors, or what this says training, to make they're specialists is what they're called in the book. It costs a wood, a plastic, and a metal. And like I said, this guy here, how's it set up so I know that I'm telling you the right one? Yeah, this one here is the looter. So whenever you use them, if they're looting, you get +1 to your loot roll. This one here is the scavenger, and he actually gets to only get a resource by using 2 dice. And the other one is the hauler, which means he can bring back 2 resources instead of just 1. So there are benefits to them if you want to spend your resources to do that. And then you just keep on doing this. You're trying to build the best compound that you can so that you would be able to fend off the raiders coming in. If you end up losing to the raiders, like I said, you suffer the consequences, but it's not anything bad. At the end of the game, if you have lost survivors, they're just, I mean, if you have injured survivors, they're not worth anything. If you lost, obviously they're not worth anything. If they are still in your compound, you get victory points for them. If you end up having a bunch of different cards, depending on how massive you built your compound up, those are worth victory points, and it all, you know, it goes from there. And all in all, this game is fun. I have a feeling it's going to be a lot better with more than 2 players. That is one thing that I'm limited to a lot, is playing with 2 players. Every now and then we get to meet up with some friends and play with more than 2, but it's usually just me and my son. And with 2 players, it was lackluster, I would say. It was just a lot of me and him rolling the dice over and over again. You know, you're supposed to yell out, plastic. You grab plastic, you put it on. And then if 2 people yell it out and they grab for it at the same time and they both touch it, you know, it's like a tie. And I mean, we really never had that situation because there was only 2 of us. And then at one point I was, you know, I collected the resources I wanted for my survivors, and then I just stopped. And I was like, well, I guess that's it. But then, you know, the bonus is actually the trigger for the end round. And he was just continuing on, and I was like, oh man, hold on, I gotta keep doing the bonus, keep going for the bonus. And I mean, you didn't really, sometimes the bonus wasn't that great that you really needed it or you really wanted it, but it was okay. The game, like I said, I guarantee this game's gonna be a lot better with 3 or 4 players, because it's gonna be all of us around the table at one time, you know, rolling dice and taking different resources and rolling more dice and taking resources. And it's to press your luck, because you guys sit there and think, you know, you got a marketplace set up over here. I don't have it set up now for you guys, but you have it set up over here, so you know exactly what is in each level and how much you need to save or spend. And that was the other thing, is you only get to save 4 during each round. So if you collected like 7 resources from with all your survivors or something, you got to spend something or you're going to lose it. And that's good. I mean, that definitely makes the necessity to spend something more and more. And if you don't have things that have fists, like a knife or a machete or a gun or anything like that, when it comes to fighting those guys, and if you don't have shields, you're not going to win at all. And you're going to end up suffering the consequences. And we saw, you know, this one here, you have to injure 3 people. So, I mean, it you know, it definitely, you know, that makes you want to purchase the protection and the armor and the weapons to be able to fight the raiders. Other than that, the components are great, I think. Standard cardboard. The board itself is really nice. The dice, Fireside Games, you know, their components are never crappy. I mean, they're always really good. The dice are really nice. The dice remind me of the dice from Bear. I mean, all the dice they're super nice. Then your tracker, I didn't pull them out, but your tracker is done with these awesome wood cubes. So I mean, the components are real nice. The only downfall I would say physically about the game is, now I haven't got any baggies for it yet, but you know, the only baggies it comes with are the dice and the wood cubes. I mean, I don't know. I'm working on developing a game. I haven't developed my game yet, so I don't really know how much it would cost to throw a couple baggies in here. But I mean, I don't think it costs that much. I gotta go to Hobby Lobby later and pick up some. So I mean, it's not a big deal. I want to, you know, they're cheap. But I mean, I didn't think it would cost too much to throw a couple baggies in here. So that's the only downfall I have about this. Like I said, once again, as a 2-player, it wasn't, you know, it's not one of those ones that blew my mind. But I know for a fact that it's going to be better with more players. So I'm excited to play with more players. The premise, the mechanics, and everything else make me think this game is great. I enjoyed it. The theme is wonderful. I love post-apocalyptic stuff, and I enjoyed playing this, and it will continue to get played in my collection. So, Fireside Games, you did it again. I loved it, and I can't wait to play with more people. So, thanks again for putting out another great game. Until next time, guys, remember, that is Remnants by Fireside Games. We need to start practicing for this post-apocalyptic stuff, right? So let's get it going. Make sure you check them out. Oh, and by the way, you know what I told you all about Crackles? How that was going to be a chance to be able to demo it? This one, you can also demo too. Make sure you go to your local game store and ask them if they have a double exposure Envoy Herald. If they do, hopefully they signed up, and they're going to be able to demo this game for you guys on September 15th and 16th. One of those days, whatever day they decide. So make sure you come on out, check it out, see what you guys think about it. I guarantee you're going to love it. It's a lot of fun. Fast-paced dice rolling. Take it easy, guys. Have a good one.